Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amy. If you're new here, welcome. So I'm going to do my February wrap up. I haven't really done one of these for a while, but I thought I'd do one because I really suck at filming vlogs and editing them. I still have a vlog that literally needs to be edited and uploaded, but I'm good with like short videos like this. Oh, I just knocked my tripod. So I'm really good with like short videos like this. So I thought I'd do my February wrap up. I have most of the books that I read here, but some I did read on my Kindle, so I will put them on the screen when obviously I talk about them. I also have my Kindle, not my Kindle, my journal here, so I can like basically remember my thoughts and stuff, because there were 8 books in total that I read in February. So, and it was literally like the month of romance, so I thought I'll read books in romance, but there was a fantasy one in there in the mist, because every month I'm trying to read one of my fairy books, and last month I managed to read like quite a few, but this month I've only read one. So we'll start off with obviously the first book that I read in February, which was Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. I listened to the audio. Teddy Hamilton was the narrator. I love Teddy Hamilton, just so you know. But yes, I gave this 5 stars. It's basically about so obviously they're all dads, and he's got 2 kids, and what's her name? I don't actually know. Skylar. Skylar is a singer, and she basically escapes to the country to write her own songs, because everybody basically writes her songs for her, and she just isn't in the mood for them anymore. She wants to write her own stuff and everything, and then she becomes obviously like really close with his kids, and they fall in love, as any romance novel is. But I did really like this one. The second one I read, which was The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. Now this is a Why Choose romance, and also had Teddy Hamilton as a narrator. So this is basically about Charlie. She is a student at Briar University? She's a student at Briar University, and she basically gets it on with 2 of the hockey players. One she can't stand at first, and then one she kind of like befriends, and then obviously she goes on this website, because at the end of the day, Charlie loves sex. She's in uni. She likes sex. Oh well, who cares? And it just so happens that she likes to do things with these 2 hockey players all the time. Bearing in mind, because I was reading a load of hockey romances, I then decided to basically watch the Winter Olympics and watch every single hockey match. I am now a ice hockey fanatic. I literally watched one today against the Penguins and the New York Rangers, which was really funny, because one of the players in the New York Rangers was on the Swedish team in the Olympics, and his coach was the coach for the USA. And I tell you, when that Swedish man took that goal, even though the USA coach was like, damn, he was basically in his head going, dude, I'm well proud of you, because it was his member, but obviously he was on the opposing team. But then USA did win the gold in it was between USA and Canada. I was rooting for Canada because I had to pick a team, and I just so happened to like one of the Canadian players. Can't remember his name, but all I know is it was number 17. And yes, so I am very much into my hockey romances and ice hockey in general. I gave this one 4 stars. And then on to the more hockey. I then read Rewind It Back by Liz Tomfordy, which I then just found out that her name is Tom Fordy and not Tom Ford, because there is an E at the end. But then I thought it might have been silent like mine. So anyway, I gave this 5 stars. This is my book of the month. I devoured this book. I absolutely loved it, because I was waiting for Rio's story, and it was a second chance romance between him and Hayley, and 6 years have passed and they just still loved each other. Yes, okay, what happened in their past was silly and stupid, and it was like a massive miscommunication, but they rekindled and it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. And then I'll put the picture up on the screen. I then read Dark Delights by Mila Cain, which is a dark hockey romance, and I enjoyed that one very much. very, very much. I cannot remember what most of it is about, to be fair. I do know that there are, obviously you need to check trigger warnings. There is obviously a plot in this book that is very, very like disturbing, and obviously if you are not into that, you need to then read the trigger warnings. But I did absolutely love that book, and the fact that the way they came together, they'd known each other since they were 13 years old, and then he did become her bully and he bullied her, but then she liked it, and that's the whole point of the dark romance and everything like that. So we liked that. I then read Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark. I really enjoyed this. Oh, I gave Dark Delights 3.5 stars because there's a pattern which I'll explain in the next one. So yeah, so I read Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark, and I gave this 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. I really, really liked it. Like, really, really liked it. Even though it's a YA, there were some parts in it. I mean, the word fuck was used quite a lot in this book, and I cannot wait to read the next one. I'm not going to lie. I love how it ended. I love that it ended in a way that I liked. I loved the relationship between obviously the 2 main characters. I loved the side characters. Bearing in mind at first I thought like something had happened, but then it was fine. So I was like, phew, that's good. But yes, I did I did kind of guess what was going on as well. So like towards the end, but then when something happened, I was like, no, this is like my worst trope ever. Please don't. But then that didn't happen, and it did end like the way that I wanted it to end, and it's set up for book 2. Then I read The Rose in Chains, which I did have the Fairy Loot edition, but I sold it because when I read a book that I don't really enjoy, I will then sell it to someone that then loves that book more than me. Yes, okay, I enjoyed the story, but I found it to be, it was just so ick. I just didn't like it. And then for something, so there was more romance in this book than there was in Rose in Chains, and that was the romantasy. Yes, okay, it was more tension, and then something kind of did happen eventually, but it just gave me the ick from like beginning to end, and I just didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I unfortunately did sell that book on my Vinted, which I will link down below. I then read Hate Mail by Donna Machetti. Sorry if I can't say it right. So this was really funny. So obviously they have been pen pals since like year whatever at school. I don't know what it is in America. It's like kindergarten or whatever, or like after kindergarten. I think they were like 7 or 9. I can't remember. I'd have to quickly see. Hang on. It doesn't actually say what year it is and what year they are. Oh no, this isn't. Fifth grade. There we go. Whatever 5th grade is in America, that's what they were in. They were in 5th grade. And they basically were pen pals, but they kept sending like hate mail to each other. So they grew like a friendship, like basically hating each other over letters. But then the letters changed, and then they suddenly stopped. And then suddenly out of the blue, she gets a letter from Luca at her workplace like 2 years. They've been pen pals for absolute years, and then just out of the blue she gets this letter, and it's like, it's kind of like a death threat, but she finds it funny because she knows who it's from. And then she decides to track him down, which then obviously then the story continues. So then after that, I then read Twisted Dees by Mila Cain. So I gave this one 3.5 stars as well, because as much as I loved the books, they're very, very similar, and like how like the plot goes. The plot in book 1, Bad Intentions, went about, and then what happened at the end, this happened and that happened, and then yay, this happened, and then exactly the same thing happened in the second book. This happened, that happened, and yay, it happened again. And then exactly the same thing basically kind of happened in this book as well. So it's very repetitive, even though yes, it is about 2 different characters because they're like interconnected standalones and that, but it just, it's very repetitive, and it's like the same storyline but with different characters, basically. That's how I felt about it, really. And then I didn't finish this. I literally finished it this morning, but I'm going to put it in here. I then read Blindsided. I did finish it this morning, but it was literally a chapter. So I'm going to put it in this wrap up, even though I technically finished it this morning and today is the 1st of March. It's not in my journal though, because I ran out of space and then I did my March spreads. But it was only like I said, it was a chapter, and that chapter was 10 pages long. So I'm going to put it in this wrap up. It's not going to go in March's wrap up because I didn't really read it in March. I read it in February. And that is Blindsided by Becca Steele. Blindsided by Becca Steele, which is an MM romance. So obviously Noah goes to university in England. This is all in England. It all takes place in England. So he goes to university in London, and it starts out when he hits someone's car. Yay, bad luck from there. So then he hits this person's car and he has like no money, and this guy Liam is a complete asshole, basically like, you hit my car. And I think it was basically both their fault, to be fair, not gonna lie, you know, boy races. And then obviously he moves into his house that is obviously he has roommates with, and then it just so happens that Liam is one of the housemates, and they're all football players, and he hates football, and he's openly gay. So then he tells like his housemates he's openly gay, and most of his other housemates are also, some of them are openly gay as well, but obviously Liam isn't. So it's, and then the tension, they hate each other, and then the tension starts rolling in, and then one drunken night Liam kisses Noah, and it goes on from there, and it's good. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. It was so good, and it makes me just, and every time I read like an MM romance, it basically makes me always think of Nikolai and Bran, and then it makes me think of Avi and Kyron, and then it just makes me think I just want to read more and MM romances, because I love an MM romance now for some reason. Don't know why. If there are any more MM hockey, like sport romances out there that I don't know about, please, 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 please leave them in the comments below, because I will be severely up for those. Excuse the noise, that's my radiator. I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to leave all my socials down below, which include my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Vinted, and I think my Fables on there. I'm not sure, I cannot remember, and maybe my Goodreads. But yes, please like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!